Alright everybody, today I'm going to show you guys how to make some sad and emotional beats, all from scratch in FL Studio. I'm going to show you guys everything in a step-by-step way from the melody to the drums, and make sure to watch the whole thing because I'm really going to show you guys some super nice sauce with the VST, which most of you guys probably don't know about. So let's not waste any more time, let's just jump right in. Alright, so we're now here in FL Studio 21, as you guys can see. First things first is obviously going to be to pick the VST we're going to be using. Now I know a lot of you guys don't really have the money for the expensive VSTs and whatever, so I want to show you guys something super neat, because if you have arcade right here, this is like a VST that costs like 10 bucks a month. Most of you already have this, but a lot of you just use it for the vocal phrases and whatever. But if you guys didn't know, there's actually a bunch of good sounding instruments in here as well, so you guys can literally go to the search section over here, and instead of looking through the samples and the phrases, you can literally just hit the instrument section right here, and you have a bunch of different instruments you can use. Everything from different horns, pianos, flutes, and everything. So in this case, since we're making something sad, I'm gonna hit the piano section, and I know I've used this in the past. We're just gonna use this classic grand piano, and dude, just like take a listen to this. It sounds so freaking clean, it's crazy, and you don't need any crazy VSTs. Just like use arcade, you can literally make a whole beat just using this VST. It's literally just like a good plugin. So now let's open up the piano roll, and first thing we're gonna do is obviously gonna pick a scale. Now in this case, I'm just gonna be using the D minor scale right here. So since we're in D, let's just put that first note down right away. So to make these sad and emotional beats in a very simplistic way without overcomplicating anything, you want to have two notes right here. It's going to be the same note, just one is one key or one octave above, and then we're just going to do the normal triad right there. Now I highly recommend you guys, just when you're making the melody, just do it in the lower velocities, because it makes it a bit more softer, more delicate. That really fits the nice vibe when you're going for something sad and emotional. So from here, let's just invert the middle note and really strum this out a little bit. You can do that by selecting them and hitting Alt and S on your keyboard, and we have our first chord. So as you guys can hear, it's super clean. Now what we're going to do from here is literally just like copy this over, and we're going to pitch it down by 5. So we're doing 1 2 3 4 5. Now I know you guys are like, oh, we've already seen this a bunch of times. Yeah, cool. But what you actually want to do is, instead of having the chord like this, you want to make sure you delete the bottom note. Leave it as these 3 notes right here. You can even invert this back if you want to, just experiment with it, but make sure you delete the lower note, because this is kind of going to give you that more emotional type of vibe to it, since you don't have the lower frequencies playing. You kind of have some tension on the low end right here, and then it relieves on the second part. So you guys can hear the difference, and if you want to, like I said, you don't even have to invert the middle notes. You can have it like this. It's probably even better. So that's pretty much all you have to do for the chords. But obviously we want to add a little bit more movement to this and not just have simple chords playing here and there. So to do that, we're just going to add a few notes in, and what I recommend is just kind of listening to it and feeling your way to a note. What I mean by feeling your way through it is just like listen to it on a loop over and over again, and just whenever you feel like there should be a note added, you add it in, depending on the movement and the vibe you want out of the chords. So I'm just going to be listening. Dun. So I feel like we should have a note somewhere around here. So this note right here is perfect. This one's pretty cool as well, but we can definitely adjust the note that's actually hitting. Okay, so after listening for a bit, we have this. And as you guys can see, we're doing some cool tricks with the notes as well. So the cool tricks we're doing is, first of all, we're shortening some of them, because it kind of stops the notes from playing and makes it just sound more natural, more realistic. So as you can hear right here, we're kind of shortening some of them, still keeping these too long, because when you're playing a real piano, sometimes you take your fingers off the real key. That's kind of what we're doing right here. And over here, we're kind of putting all of our fingers and hands off the keyboard for just like a split second before we hit the chord back again. Now we need to add some effects to this as well. So I'm going to add a little bit of reverb first of all, 18% on the roam. Then we're going to do RC20 as well. These are pretty much go-to plugins of mine. Just getting more of that vintage feel to it. You can even turn this down a bit. A little bit of EQ. This piano sound is pretty clean as it is, honestly. You don't really need to do too much more. Alright, so that's pretty much going to be it for the piano. Next thing we want to do now is obviously add some sort of layer in the background we can use to kind of fill out the sample a little bit. So I'm actually going to pull out something a little bit saucy I have in the back end over here. Yeah, as you guys know, I'm working on a new kit. I've already told you guys it's going to be the best kit to date. It's going to have a bunch of different things. One of them is obviously going to be a analog lab bank as well. So all I'm going to do is just pull up a pad that I've made over here. You can just try to find a similar sound, or when the kit comes out you can use the same one, but we're just going to layer it with the MIDI we already have inside of here. So as you guys can see, we're just kind of layered it, and I'm going to have it in the back end as well, or in the background as well, a bit higher pitched, just 1 octave up, and it just a small little texture in the background. You don't want it to overpower anything. Alright, so since we're making a sad beat, obviously we need to find some sort of sad vocals. So what I recommend you do is either open up Arcade, find a vocal in there, or you can just go into Spice if you have that as well. All you do is you head over to the search section, you search up emotional vocal, hit that in, and you should be prompted with a bunch of different emotional vocals. So you can find whichever one. We found this one right here.
Thinking about the way it was. You got me begging and begging. Begging and begging, I can't stop thinking about the way it was.
So I've just put it to the right time as well. Now I'm actually going to turn the BPM down a little bit since I feel like the vocal was a bit too fast. Yeah, so now it's much better. All we have to do now is just kind of blend that vocal in together with the piano so it sounds pretty smooth. And the way we do that is put it on the mixer track. First things first, a lot of reverb. That's really just going to drown the sound out a bit. And there's really just like a couple specific things you need to do. For me, it's reverb. You already know it's RC20 as well. Magnitude, transition on. Go to effect for vocals. I swear to God, if you're doing these emotional type of things, put this on ASAP. It works every single time. Last thing, just an EQ for the high end. Okay, so I like how this sounds, but I feel like it could sound even better if the pitch was a bit different. So I'm going to show you guys a super cool trick when it comes to melodies. What I do all the time is when I'm feeling the melody but I want to pitch it down a bit, I just select everything, I put it on an insert like the 7th one right here. Route it to this one, I open up a sound shifter, and let's just try to pitch it down to C minor instead. Ooh. Come on, it already sounds way more emotional as well. I'm also going to open up another instance of the same piano, and I'm just going to add in a couple different accent notes as well. Just something like that to kind of add a little bit of more top end to it. If you want, you can even open up Arcade and just find one of the different phrases. So something like this works as well. That's if you just kind of want to use a phrase instead. Get a pretty clean sound of that also. So that's pretty much going to be it for the sample. Now that we have the sample finished, it's obviously time that we add those drums. As for the drum sounds I'm using, they're mostly going to be coming from my Motion bundle kit, my Mirage multi-kit, and also my new kit that's coming out very, very soon. So I'm going to be previewing some of the sounds from there as well, and also show you guys how to really nail down that drum bounce when you're going for these emotional beats. If you like any of the drum sounds you hear, obviously you can check out the kits. They're all on my website, which is BBMarko.com, or you guys can just click the first link down below. Cool, so first things first is obviously going to be an open hat on the first hit. You can use whatever one you want, if it's a long one, a short one. I like going for the short ones, they're super snappy. Then you want to add a clap as well. That's the clap right there, just to get the bounce going. Then we're going to add in a hi-hat as well. This is just a normal two-step, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to head over to the Motion bundle kit. In the MIDI section, we have a bunch of different hi-hat MIDIs, so let's drag in a random one from here. I want one that's kind of busy, but not too much. Yeah, that's perfect. So as you can see, very simple with the hi-hats, straightforward, cool little bounce, a few rolls here and there. Then we need some snares. This is really just going to help out with the bounce. Yeah, this is perfect right here. Adjust the velocity a bit. Now, one thing that's very common with these emotional little TJ, Polo G type of beats is you can also stack a few open hats with the 808 and the kick later on. So let's actually just start adding in the kick so you can get that balance for the low end. Something like this. So this is pretty cool. I don't want that on the ending. Yeah, we're gonna have to delay this for right here. Now I think it's a bit smoother. Let's add an 808. So we're just layering the kick in 808. And as you can hear, we also have this open hat slamming at the same time as them all. And that's super key. You can have one right here as well, but just lower it a bit. Yeah, these low key ones on the second part is super cool. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the beat. Last thing we're going to do now is just arrange the whole thing, and then we'll take a final listen. Okay, so here we pretty much have the full beat. Very, very dry in the beginning, just to emphasize the sad vibe of it.
Shut up, Marko.
Then it drops in right here. Dude, it's so deep, I swear. We have the higher keys on the first part, then we have the vocal back in. Deep, hard 808. Then we have the verse right here. A little bit of a delay drop. Just the 808. And we want to make sure we have the second part of the verse with a kick. That way you can really hear the difference. And we have a bridge right here. And it's pretty much the same as the intro. And then we come back into the hook again.